Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to day 13. Day 13 of the Gears Pro League. I'm Taylor Reflections Double, joined by Jacob MVPR. We're getting into our final series, all Latin America, baby. Rebel versus Fire and Ice. How we feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good, man. I can't go a day, can't go a week without seeing some of this Latin American powerhouses, because we know with the last event right around the corner, this is their last chance to claim that title, to claim the throne this season.
Yeah, it is their last chance indeed. You know, Rebel, team that has definitely had their struggles, haven't they? You know, but I gotta say, they show some flash in the pans performances where I'm like, you know what? I think these guys can really make it happen. But do you know who's there to shut them down? Gotta be Toti, right? Toti is the player to watch, and for a good reason. And the reason why, well, his stats are pretty incredible, to be honest with you, Jacob. And Toti is a guy that if he performs well and pops off for Fire and Ice, that's a team that's going to win. That's a team that's going to dominate. After all, his KDA is incredible, but what impresses me, damage per respawn, brother, 17K. That's a big stat to have in your corner.
Yeah, he's a jack of all trades, and I had the blessing, the opportunity to kind of cast this man in Dyslexic in the 2v2 Astro Battle Summer Major, where they came back against TJ and Demise in that final map. I do believe it was. I could be wrong because it was just so chaotic of action, but they came back in the final map that they won, mid boxes. Yes, it was a game number 5, but Toti's performance throughout all 5 maps, he was that jack of all trades, like I'm saying. He let Dyslexic go in while he got the damage, and he would play the support. When Dyslexic wasn't having the best of his games, they switched up spots, and Toti became the Slayer. Watching these two guys be the 1-2 punch combo, I think they're going to have the duo-ship here to overall prove their dominance throughout Gears esports. Toti has taken rosters in the past and brought them to all right average teams to the top.
Well, look, Fire and Ice is a serious threat. Second place at the major behind United. They got third place behind VQ and Rise during MSP, and they're a serious threat heading into the major. Let's take a look at the maps we're rolling with and see what Rebel and F&I decided to go for. Starting off on Regency control, Rebel picks that. Fair enough. They did have that close series on Regency versus Noble. They still lost 262 to 300. Fire and Ice, though, has had wonderful success on Regency as of recently. Speaking of regards, they beat Hive on Regency 300 258. They've also beat the likes of DreamCon 300 to 205. They've even beat United 300 to 288. All wins across the board in their last 4 or 5 series. And then that leads us into Clocktower execution. What are we thinking about this one?
More so the last 4 maps, but it plays into a lot of aggression, a lot of quick, decisive plays to where you can't take too much time or else that opportunity will go out the window. Regency control is going to be the one that, even though it's not as quick as the other ones are, but it's very, very team-oriented. You let somebody slip by and you're not watching your lane, you're not going ahead and lantering the right people, it could cause some destruction. But overall, I think there's just a big mismatch in how both of these teams play. Rebel is still trying to find themselves. They're still trying to rebuild. Meanwhile, Fire and Ice, they're already at the top of their game. They're just putting on those finishing touches of what's needed before that major event.
You know, it's funny, though. Clocktower is one that I actually favor Rebel. I really do. And the reason why, I was going back into stats and I was looking at execution, and I had to kind of take a double take for Fire and Ice. And I'm thinking to myself, was that real? But it was. They lost Clocktower 4-6 versus Dream Conspiracy. Yep. That's pretty telling. You know, that really is. So I think Rebel could, in fact, be benefited here because they did beat Dream Conspiracy on Clocktower. Sometimes that aggression can bite you in the butt, especially if you have a team that can focus out the player going for the long shot. It can hurt you as a whole. But more talk about that later when we get to it. Let's talk about our predictions. Okay, we got Rebel, we have Fire and Ice. Jacob, you're the champion. You've been letting us know, so I'll let you lead us off.
Hey, man, just go ahead and you can follow my pick. You and the chat can just continue to kind of follow in my footsteps here. I talked about a big game, that summer major for Dyslexic and Toti. They're just working on their teamwork, bait and switch the roles. Sure. And honestly, overall, I think there's a bit of a mismatch to go down between these two teams. I talk about Rebel rebuilding themselves and Fire and Ice just putting on those finishing touches. I don't think there's much that Rebel can do to overtake Fire and Ice on a 1-to-1 level. So I think Fire and Ice overall has what it takes to close out the series, whether if it's 3-2 of a nail biter or 3-0 so I can get to my dinner. I think Fire and Ice got it.
Fire and Ice, fair pick, fair pick. You know, I've always been a fan of F&I. I really have been a fan. And I'm even more of a fan now because I got some beautiful things in the mail. Let me just show you. I'm not saying they bought me off, but let me just, hey, I'm tired of calling doing the E United hat. So you know what? Finally, I can flex an org, baby. I'm not a hat guy, but I got F&I all the way, baby. I think F&I is going to take this series. Rebel, they're going to take a back seat to this. They continue to struggle, and I think they're going to struggle just as much here against Fire and Ice, who is without a doubt incredible, and they're fired on all cylinders. And when they are fired on all cylinders, brother, you can't shut them down. VQ did on E-Days, and it's not E-Days, okay? It's not E-Days. We're talking about Pro League. Chat, who are you going to be going with? Are you going F&I? You going Rebel? I already know the answer because it was very one-sided when it came to the points. You're going with Fire and Ice. Hey, my 159,000 channel points 100% helped you, okay, in that case. So F&I was pretty one. It's right now 1.2 million to 133,000. So guess what? It's time to go broke and make me look like an idiot, Rebel. Let's see if you can do it. I'm not going to lie, Jacob. If Rebel could beat Fire and Ice, quite honestly, that would be a big victory. And I'm here for it, despite me going broke in channel points and me rocking the F&I hat. Hey, it's more storylines for the major.
I saw that point disparity. I got my pick locked in for Fire and Ice, but I said, hold up, let me put 10 on Rebel real quick. Let me go ahead and buy my lottery ticket. Let me get
you only put 10? Are you that broke?
No, because of the mismatch in the points, those 10 points, they're going to make me bank. They're going to make you bank. They're going to let me catch in.
They're going to make you 90 points.
What? I've been looking at predictions all wrong.
Well, I mean, clearly, you're not going to be a channel millionaire putting 10 points down. Do you not know how to do custom amounts? Or
No, I do. I just wanted to throw 10 on them. I thought it would, because of the lopsided, I would get more of that. But man, was I wrong. And it goes to show I've been wrong almost every single time when it comes to Twitch channel predictions. I only have 4.7. The amount of times I bet on the wrong team, and I'm not saying wrong team as, betting on the loser. No, I'm talking about I meant, for a team to win. I confidently put 900,000 channel points in, and then it was the other team. And I'm just like,
you had 900,000 channel points?
I would have.
Jeez, brother, that's a lot.
Hey, I moved to Vegas for a reason, man.
Fair enough. When you're putting 9 or at least wanting to have 9, I really don't know how many channel points there are out there. Like, not collectively, but I want to know who has the most.
I learned it from Ryan early, though. Scared money don't make money. Scared channel points don't make no channel points. I'll tell you that much.
And we're okay going broke, baby. Especially with you being from Vegas, you understand sometimes you got to risk it for the biscuit.
I know. You just might have to wait for the next paycheck, but we going back in.
All right, let's. And that is a way to not live life, ladies and gentlemen. Do not listen to that advice. I just want to say, hey, let's get into it. Rebel F&I. It's going to be a fun one. It really is. And hopefully Rebel will put up a big fight here. And in Identivez and Crack We Trust, right? The guys to really step it up in the moment. But Roses is having a ton of engagements underway. And that kill feed is, hey, it's red. It's all red.
The Rebel just asserting their dominance. They win the hill fight. They get the shock because of it. They win the middle thanks to Addvers getting the frag grenades. And towards up top, the Latin American superstar Identivez 1-0, getting that end bar for his team. They're beginning to park the bus here. The only thing I don't like is their positioning overall for the next hill. Not for the hill right now where they're accumulating the points, but for them to be able to make the rotation and be first to the next spot. But already once more, history will repeat itself. 2 more downs, 2 more eliminations being picked up. And the biggest thing to notice is that same positioning. You see the players of Fire and Ice staggering towards the other side of the map, giving up that respawn for the next hill.
Rebel fighting super hard. They're angry and they're making the most of it. That is a perfect start for them. Plus, you got player 6 of Crack, who's looming in the background. And based on the dots from Fire and Ice on the minimap, brother, they have no idea he's there. So at this point, Crack can just kind of chill out and really not run the risk of anybody even challenge it. I am scared for my channel points, and now I am feeling dumb for wearing the hat because Rebel is just amazing off the start. My goodness.
All that talk about my predictions championship. 0-2 on the day. Not looking good for me either. Come on, Fire Nice. This is going to be big here, but I talked about the positioning from Rebel. They did a good job of turning things around. They didn't have a lick of positioning on that side of the map, and now they have absolutely everything, including 2 more eliminations on the Astro Battles, reigning championship Toti and Dyslexic. Xploidz goes down. Fearzly, they're going to angle him out. They're going to make him a target and make sure to secure the team wipe.
All right, well, oh my Lord, that's ugly. I don't even know if I gotta say it. I gotta be a storyteller. Dyslexic, Xploidz, Fearzly. Not a kill to their name, brother. Not a single elimination.
Combined.
And Toti, our player to watch. The guy we hyped up has 1 elim. Rough.
10 without Toti there, but 2 more downs coming through. Those O's are going to get even bigger here. The downs being finally cleaned up. No trades coming through just yet. Toti gets it down. Not able to clean up the elimination. So literally 1 kill throughout 2 hills for Fire and Ice as Rebel continue to assert their dominance here. Crack moving up. Dyslexic's able to get a down yet again, but the elimination's not cleaned up. Crack goes down, but I'm just pointing out just the downs because finally Toti gets another kill, and that's the second one for the team as a whole.
All right, Fire and Ice, you have really started off sluggish, but I will say things haven't gotten too out of control despite the point disparity. 97 to 11. It's still very early, and Fire and Ice has a chance to come back, and it looks as if they're going to be fighting very hard off that last hill. They got to start beating Rebel off these early rotations. Those first 2 hills were picture perfect for Rebel, and this one is looking even better. And this is where Xploidz needs to connect, and he will onto 1. Identivez is marked. No need to fire the shot. Toti's going to manage to take him down in the meantime. And Xploidz is going to clear some ground, spread themselves out, speaking in regards to F&I, and try and catch Rebel off of the rotation.
Yep. Massive lead here is not only telling the scoreboard, but an average about like 50 points here scored on every hill for Rebels so far. This one is definitely turning the tide. It's Fire and Ice parking the bus here, spotting out these enemies, getting the marks over the head, the information, which is absolutely important. Shock going to go ahead and separate themselves, making sure that they can't utilize that cover in front of them. First M-bar shot's going to miss, make that 0 for 2. The third one's going to clean up the down on Identivez. Addvers and Toti trading downs, but the reinforcements from Fire and Ice are going to be there in the blink of an eye to clean up these eliminations. Going to be up to Crack, bouncing around, using the movement he can, but the kill feed, it's all Toti, it's all Dyslexic. The Astro Battle Championship rise to the occasion.
60 to 99, catching up quickly as F&I to battle for the fresh M-bar, but also more importantly, the new hill is underway. Fearzly will take down Identivez, and he's going to go ahead and overextend himself. Addvers will show himself. That's the shot you need to hit if you are going to go for that challenge. Unfortunately, he will miss it. Kardia just up ahead now, facing a meat shield of Fearzly. The thing is, though, once Fearzly's meat shield goes away, is he going to be able to get out of this spot? Well, I guess they're going to continue to push Rebel. You know, you got to kind of question, does F&I have respect for Rebel? That push is pretty uncharacteristic. You don't see that often at all.
Yep, 52 to, I believe, 2 run over that last hill for Fire and Ice, trying to get back into this game. They trail about 30 points, give or take a few, but Rebel realizing this next hill is so important. We can't continuously let them come back as they go ahead and defensively stop one side of things, but they're still split up on the side of Fire and Ice. Still an option to just kind of angle out these players and get it early down, but there's going to come a point in time when you have to push in and you have to clean up those eliminations. I'm looking at Dyslexic. I'm looking at Toti here to kind of be those players. There goes the downs in which I was talking about. Dyslexic goes down. The elimination going back and forth. There's only 1 for each team so far. Addvers is going to be there. Kardia goes down. Finally, Fire and Ice finding a footing on this hill.
Yeah, I don't know if they had their monitors turned off or maybe not their controllers turned off or playing with their feet or something, but definitely a polarizing difference from the first couple of hills to the next couple of hills. As F&I is closing that gap, but Identivez shutting them down. That's a big win with Addvers and Identivez in mid. Still, though, trying to get onto the hill, and they will. That's going to be Kardia, opposite of that of Toti. They'll keep the hill decapped as much as possible. As much, you know, as entertaining as it is to watch Kardia keep that hill decapped, of course, you have to focus on the next, and that's exactly where Rebel's going to be going. Taking Memorial Spawn is one of the key factors to locking and keeping this hill in your control, and that's exactly what Rebel is going to do. Fire and Ice knows we need to take over this spot. If we can do so, we can flush Rebel out of positioning. I believe this battle is for the shock grenade, and that's going to be Dyslexic winning that fight. So this is going to be great for getting the break on the next.
Yeah, that was a good moment there, too, for Fire and Ice here. It was only about 31 to, I do believe, 25 points scored for each one of those teams. So not too much differential there for Rebel, who had early control over that hill. So good job of Fire and Ice of climbing back into this one after such a slow start to this game. They get that elimination onto Kardia. The rest of the team taking their time on the side of Rebel, waiting for that shot to go away. And this is the moment they strike a flash grenade towards the backside. Kardia, Crack, everybody trying to make their way and assert themselves into the situation, but Dyslexic is going to get 2 kills under his belt. But Crack, he answers back with a down, an elimination of his own, trying to go for that second one onto Xploidz, unable to clean it up. Goes for the elimination, and Dyslexic shuts him down. Kardia doing what he can, only gets a down, but it was Rebel who had the spawn point towards the top, so they're instantly going to get the reinforcements. Meanwhile, Toti is going to have to traverse through the ground, get these frag grenades, and hopefully the team plays as a unit.
And Toti with the frag is going to be big. He's going to go ahead and chunk one out. That should connect onto one. You'd have to assume maybe even two, and it will be two as Addvers goes for the pickup of Identivez and ultimately will lose both of the lives. Killing two birds with one stone in that case. Crack rotating for the M-bar, and he's going to be met with some Lancer fire. Got to get that out of his hands. He's going to backpack it, so this is going to be a net positive for the F&I boys if they can remove him. Crack trying to pop off, not going to do so in that moment. Fire and Ice has about a 40 or so point lead. He continues to grow. The next hill is going to be underway. You can tell Rebel sets themselves up early, and maybe not for long. Dyslexic head down. Good team revives. Addvers falls. F&I going for the break.
That was a really good defensive and offensive hill for Fire and Ice. They kept Rebels scoreless off of that hill, I do believe, and they're continuing to assert themselves. They're discombobulating the opposition and making sure they cannot work as a full cohesive unit. And this is those moments that I talk about. You sacrifice a few seconds, 10, 15 if it may be. That way you could spawn up as 5, get around the map, and figure out a hole that is left open from Fire and Ice. Otherwise, you're going to keep going in 1 by 1, 2 by 2, getting taken out as a full team.
Shot out!
The smoke, Rebel goes. It's going to be the second team fight on this hill alone. Good Lancer fire and just a ton of damage coming out from Xploidz. Dyslexic too. Dyslexic has popped off, like truthfully. 6 assists, but he has the most damage. And why is that? Well, because he has 15 kills. Jacob, he has 15 eliminations, 13k damage done. The man is truly popping off. Meanwhile, Fearzly and Toti both with 11 and 14 assists, respectively. Dyslexic is going to spawn to the backside of Rebel. And that's just how control works sometimes. You know, you never know when a teammate is or an enemy is going to spawn behind you. And in this case for Dyslexic, he's going to take full advantage of this and put Rebel running.
Over 100-0 run over these last 2 hills for Fire and Ice. They're keeping Rebel absolutely scoreless for yet another hill. They're not giving up any inches. They're not giving them a moment to breathe. They're just suffocating their opponent round after round. It looks like Brock Lesnar when he first came back to the WWE when he was taking everybody to Suplex City.
Brock Lesnar, bringing back the good memories, man. I haven't watched WWE in a long time, but Brock Lesnar, that was the guy. Xploidz is going to pick up that M-bar, and man, can he put it to use. This is going to make Rebel's job even harder as they're going for the break, and there it is. Speak of the devil, Xploidz already connected onto Identivez. Still, the Rebel does get the break after all, after winning the close quarter fights up close, but 60 seconds remaining. Still plenty of time. Oh, my lord, Xploidz. He's just so good with any precision weapon.
Yeah, and it goes to show, like, them trying to refine themselves, missing a crucial Slayer like they had before. And I said it in the beginning, Addvers isn't necessarily that Slayer-type player. They have to reinvent themselves, and they haven't been able to find their footing all season. There's been hopes, there's been shines, but it's quickly been snuffed out, just like it's snuffed out yet again. Fire and Ice taking that control over the hill, at least keeping it neutralized. Addvers doing a good job of getting that elimination onto Fearzly, but there's more. It's like OxyClean, but wait, there's more. If you call now, you could end up with another elimination thanks to Xploidz. But Identivez, the king, trying to even it up. He gets another down, trying to save his teammate's life. Another down coming through, but that's all he's getting right now. Nobody's there to clean up these eliminations. He finally gets taken out, and Crack falls as well as they continue to lead over 100 points.
Still not a terrible hill for Rebel. They kept a lot of those points away from Fire and Ice. Obviously, F&I has a considerable lead even now, but Rebel did as much damage as they possibly could without F&I, you know, successfully just really getting even closer to 300. Still going to be scary points, but these next couple of hills are going to make all the difference for Rebel. It either makes or breaks them. Again, that team fire. That's one thing Fire and Ice is doing very well that I'm impressed with, Jacob. Their team fire, the way that they isolate certain players and focus in on one player at a time is pretty incredible, and I must say pretty uncharacteristic of F&I. That's not something they normally do.
Got to be careful here, not to get too antsy, not to get too greedy on some of these situations, because it does look like Rebel, at least onto this hill, but a stop to the bleeding. They're trying to claw back into this one, but it has to be a continuous effort. It has to be consecutive eliminations, back and forth. Crack able to find one over towards the top half of the M-bar, spotting out Xploidz, who was weak. You got to think it comes in way of communication as he's continuing to stay alive and be a thorn in the side of Fire and Ice, but can't just be a thorn in the side. He has to be a massive go ahead and jab in the side here as he finally gets taken out. Identiv does get those frag grenades though, so it could stop any push going forward.
Good shot. Good lineup for Toti. Misses the one on Identivez. Fair enough, though. His teammates are there for the cleanup. 30 seconds remaining. Not enough to win off of this one, but definitely enough to get dangerously close. Shock's going to be picked up by Dyslexic. The frag shouldn't make a difference at this point, so this very well could be the final hill. You can tell Rebel spreads themselves out. Fire and Ice needing a break at the moment. They're going to be attacking the top side, which is pretty typical. Getting Rebel out of the spot that they're currently at is of the utmost importance, so very well could be the final push. Only 19 points remain for Fire and Ice to take the win. Toti lining one up, but not firing the shot just yet. Getting any of these players off this back portion is going to be critical. Here comes Toti. Will he have an impact? Well, that's one shot down. Not going to connect.
Yep, the biggest thing to take note of here is they did their job. They secured that top spawn point positioning here. So if they do end up in an altercation here, gets taken out, they're going to have the reinforcements a little bit sooner than Rebel would, connecting with an M-bar shot. Getting the final elimination onto Kardia, taking him out. Towards the side, though, Addvers takes out Xploidz, who was down and out of that scenario. Dyslexic doing what he can to keep the ties on over towards Fire and Ice and doing exactly everything right. Him and Toti have just asserted themselves on this Fire and Ice roster as a duo to be reckoned with.
91 and counting. Player just dancing around. It's going to be over with. 300 to 193. And what a finish. And I must say, what a finish for Fire and Ice, but what a start for Rebel. They looked absolutely terrorizing. And all of a sudden, they end up taking a loss, especially once Fire and Ice started heating up. That slaying power was incredible. Toti, Xploidz with the M-bar, just insane. Dyslexic, clearly the MVP for a reason. 19 kills, damage done, just shy of 20,000, dominating everybody in the lobby. But again, I go back to Fire and Ice and that team fire, Jacob. That team fire was wonderful. And again, you don't see that often from F&I. Normally, they're just in your face slaying out. And one of the things that I've always said on Regency that hurts them is it's spread out. You don't have those up close and personal fights. But this time around, Fire and Ice, they didn't really win off of the up close and personal fights. They won off of their teamwork. That's a good look for F&I, a different look from them.
Yeah, Lancers, shock grenades, funneling players to those directions. As we get into the replays, it was a 97 to 17 start from Rebel. But from there on out, it was completely dominated by Fire and Ice. At one point, I do believe going on, I think, let me just try to do the math, almost, I say almost, about 180 to 19 run. Those aren't exact numbers, but if you're able to go on a run very, very similar like that, like Fire and Ice just did, you're controlling the game. You're going ahead and dominating it in such a way that you're just mentally shutting them down as well.
It's a big win. Now, obviously, we do have Clocktower, which is coming up next, and I kind of talked about how Rebel might be the favored team here. You know, it's telling when Dream Conspiracy beat Fire and Ice. Dream Conspiracy has yet to get a win in Pro League, but yet they can beat Fire and Ice in execution. It's going to be a tough one for them, it is. But another opportunity, like I said, for Rebel to strike back, tie up the series 1-1, which would be great from them because Vasgar, even though Rebel has played Vasgar well in the past, Fire and Ice has been on a different level on that map, and it could very well go towards them, and this could be a 3-0 victory just as easily as it started. But some key takeaways from Rebel, though, despite losing that, again, that start from them was incredible. Identivez and Crack were popping off, and heading into Clocktower execution, that pop-off potential is going to pay dividends for Rebel if we see that performance again.
Yeah, and you can kind of see that as individuals, Rebel is definitely still into the game. Identivez, Crack able to kind of take over at different moments. Addvers kind of holding his own. You got to give it up to Kardia as well. It's just as a unit, as a team, we know at the highest level of things, Gears Esports comes down to team play. Yeah, you can have kind of a team member kind of mess it up, make a blunder, cost you a couple rounds here and there. Like we saw Pushies from Oxygen not make the play, but more times than not, it's the overall team play that shuts down these individuals. So as good as Crack, as good as Identivez was able to do, the Dyslexic, Toti, and the rest of the F&I roster use their teamwork to just suffocate them inch by inch and take away every opportunity of comeback.
Yeah, teamwork makes the dream work. It really does. Again, a different look, an encouraging look from Fire and Ice. Getting this close to the major, they're showing some new learned traits, which is great for them. Without question, they've had some inconsistencies in Pro League. They've taken some losses that I did not expect them to take. But here they are, doing a great job against Rebel. What do we need to see from Rebel and Clocktower, Jacob? What more do we need to see? I pointed out Crack and Identivez popping off, really, and they have been since Addvers is there and Demon's separation from the team. But Crack and Identivez still continue to pop off and do well. But the other two, what do they need to do?
Honestly, you kind of need to play your role, kind of back them up. If you're playing that secondary spot, just staying alive. That's going to be one of your main focuses, is staying alive. If you know your teammates pushing up, that's when you know you kind of have the cushion of the bait and switch, that revive potential. But overall, I want to see Rebel just pull out some different trick strategies. If something isn't working, you can't be afraid to switch it up. And what I mean by that on Clocktower is play down low. Get those frag grenades. Extend towards your 1v1, because we already said Identivez and Crack right now are playing very, very well as individuals, just not necessarily as a team. So maybe that's something as a roster you take note of and you figure out a way to implement into your gameplay if the team play isn't working.
I think Rebel could really hurt Fire and Ice with the nades play, as you said. And the reason why, Dyslexic oftentimes will go down low and try to go for the nades. But I have seen, and I do believe I was casting over the Dream Conspiracy matchup. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't know who was opposite of him, maybe Krabby's, but it was a 1v1 down low for the nades. And more often than not, Dyslexic was losing that 1v1 surprisingly. Maybe because of the distance. Again, Dyslexic is deadly when he's up close to you, but from afar, is he as deadly? Maybe not. And who knows? That could be something Rebel can capitalize on in that moment. Frags can hurt you on Clocktower. We've seen that apparent in Challenger Series. We've seen that apparent in Pro League. So I think frags should be a big focal point for the Rebel boys.
Yeah, especially if you're able to utilize those angles. We've seen players kind of be able to toss those up from the actual grenade placement itself. You can leave the grenades, kind of toss them up, bank them on over to host spot. If you get the right trajectory, you could even toss them deep in towards that secondary. If you realize that push is coming through and you're not going to be able to make it towards up top, maybe that's something that you could really think about. Toss them into the jail. There's so many different angles, if long as you could take the time during practice to perfect those angles.
But going for the quick pick on the snipe, though, that's something that was really trademarked, I think, at least off the start when Execution 2.0 was introduced by Rice. Detox always getting that quick pick and doing so well. It still is a popular strat, a risky one, because you can get not only angled out, but you can also be punished by the team if the team fire comes into play. I don't know. After seeing the team fire on Regency control from Fire and Ice, Rebel might not have the option to go for the quick pick.
Yeah, there's so many different things. That's why I love this map, but I also think it's like one of those maps that isn't necessarily utilized as much. You don't see it as many cycles because there's so many different strategies, so many different openings. If you know your aggressive team, you pick a map like Checkout and things like that because it suits aggression. Clocktower, on the other hand, is one of those maps. Like I said, it's just so many different things. You can get aggressive. You can try to go for early elimination, especially if you down that guy in towards secondary. You can play it a little slow, play down low, try to get the frags, work that torque bow. If you so happen to get early down, that's when you can play for either the sniper pickup or try to backtrack and go ahead and use that sniper to pick up the other weapons. Like I said, there's just so many different possibilities here.
Oh, we threw out a lot of possibilities, a lot of theoreticals. Now it's time to put all of that into practice and see what the teams truthfully are going to do. As I said, Dyslexic is the guy that normally goes down low for the frags. This time he'll go for the peek and the check, but player 3 gets out of there. So Addvers sees Dyslexic check, but then finds an opportunity to slip in and get the nades for free. At this point, Fire and Ice feels justified to push up, and they're going to have to. Dyslexic will take the snipe. Identivez is going to take down Fearzly. First blood going to F9. Or excuse me, Rebel.
Oh, another flash kind of hits somebody towards the back end of things. Sniper in the hands of Dyslexic, just like you said, but everybody kind of pushed up towards that middle pillar, trying to get Toti down. Luckily for him, he was able to escape very narrowly there, but man advantage goes on over towards Rebel. Frag grenade is no longer in place, so it's going to leave it up to the torque bow. Sniper in the hands of Xploidz there. Nice switch up coming through. They're going to spot him out, so know exactly where it's coming from. The thing is here on Clocktower, and I do believe a couple players have the opportunity to do it, you can backtrack deep in towards the spawn, try to get an extra bit of utility with the flash grenade, but timing's not on the side of Fire and Ice. They catch somebody out. That is their moment to go, and they execute.
Ooh, great shot from Xploidz. Again, that's why he is such a force to be reckoned with when it comes to precision weapons on any map, and just nearly takes the head off of Crack. But picking up the torque is going to be big. Dyslexic should be picked up. Addvers is by himself. This is an opportunity for Fire and Ice to take the edge. Well, they already have it. Crack is by himself. What just happened? The torque bow's connecting, my guy.
I'm about to say, oh my, one more time, but Toti, didn't I tell you he's a jack of all trades? He's going to be the guy that lances you down. He's going to be the guy that chunks you out. He's going to be the guy that snipes you across the map. Or in this case, torque bows you. Ooh, look at that damage differential as well. Toti. He just won the lion's share of $10,000 going into this major, and he's going to try to line his pockets with even more cash.
Oh, without a doubt. Look, Fire
Dinner's
Nice.
on Toti.
Hey, I'm okay with that. Anytime dinner's on somebody else, I'm all for it. I'm gonna be real with you, okay? Doesn't matter how much money you got. Always take a free meal if it comes your way. Great start for Identivez to Xploidz Dyslexic down. This might be a clean round from Rebel, and it's looking like it's gonna be the case. Toti by himself, he's out of the way. Oh, just like that, 23 seconds. Rebel ties it up.
And Identivez just making quick work of his opposition, but he also got first blood last round. I do believe so. Back-to-back first bloods coming through from Identivez. Once you get first blood like that, you have to close out these rounds, especially in execution, where it's basically survival of the fittest.
All right, all tied up 1-1. Rebel a good showing, at least in that last round. Let's see if they can be just as successful this time. One thing that hurt them, though, was Dyslexic getting taken off so early. Back to the old ways, though. Addvers going for the quick pick on the nades. Fire Knight should know this is a mismatch. This is their time to strike on the long shot. That's exactly what they're going to do. Once they see those nades picked up, they know it's a 4v3 up top. They're going to capitalize on that sniper every time. This time, though, Identivez, who's been getting many first bloods off the rip, will even up the odds. Addvers is now gone. It's a 3v3. This is playing much the same way as round 1 did, but Xploidz in a bit of trouble. They'll get picked back up.
Look at those crucial shots. Identivez right there needed to be shooting at that sniper player. They need to call out who they're focusing right there. Being on different pages at a time like this could definitely be the difference. Now they not only have one, but 2 power weapons in the hands of FNI. The only silver lining coming through from Rebel right now is that they're funneled in towards this one location. I call it a silver lining unless the hill spawns out there, which honestly it looks like it might be. I have no reason to move if the hill's there.
Yeah, no reason
Negative
at all.
reasons to move.
Negative reasons to move. Sure, that's true. My only question is, does a sniper respawn in time up top though for Rebel maybe to get it? Yeah. So this could still be very much so won by Rebel. So 20 say yeah, absolutely. Crack is going to be the guy to go get that.
Is frag grenades. I would love to try to see them sneak somebody in towards those frag grenades to really be a buster, but it's too risky with the sniper and the torque bow in hand, especially with some Lancer coming out from Fearzly. As they're just looking for somebody to peek. They're just trying to bait somebody out. We know how deadly Xploidz can be in this situation. Spots his target in front of them. They're just trying to brute force their way through, setting 3 players to try to deal with Kardia. He's going deep into the spawn, but not deep enough. He gets taken out. They turn around, frag grenades into the hands of Crack. So it's not going to be an easy victory for Fire Knights just because they have that man advantage. But Identivez going down is definitely going to change that story just a little bit. And Toti back to back again, 2 different rounds with double kills when the hill is about to pop, taking over these opportunities.
So 2 rounds lost in the same way for Rebel, and that's because Addvers goes for the pick on nades, uncontested. Fire Knight sees this, they get the snipe. First time it was Dyslexic, second time it was Xploidz, then obviously Dyslexic passed it over to Xploidz out the round 1. But you got a question, is it worth it for Addvers to get those nades, which haven't had an impact in both of the rounds Rebel lost? And mind you, that's off of Identivez getting first blood off of round 1 and round 3. And unfortunately, or actually off of all 3 rounds, Identivez has got first blood in all 3 rounds, and Rebel's only won 1 of them. So clearly Rebel isn't converting those first bloods, which is a scary thing to see.
Especially if you kind of look back at the opportunities, how he's getting the first blood. He's really risking it all to try to put his team on top. Flank coming through, Fearzly with a nice cross, able to get down on 1. Kardia's left to deal with him, but he's still getting that open cross on these members. Finally, he's being pushed off of that host spot as 2 members are there trying to reunite, trying to make this a 3v3 instead of sticking to this individual play. But what looks like deja vu, sniper in the hands of Xploidz, and they go out wide for torque bow yet again. I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. All these first bloods are great and all, but if you don't convert and win the rounds, it's for what? Nothing.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I love that we have the first blood stat, because again, now we can set up more of a storyline for Identivez, and he's doing everything he can. He did everything he could on Regency as well. Identivez has stepped it up tremendously for this roster since they lost Demon. But it's not enough if the rest of the team can't compliment him, and I think Crack does. I think Addvers has his moments in Kardia. I think Rebel has their moments in general. But you know, missing Demon hurts. It does, and that's kind of been the biggest thing we've focused on for quite some time. Around the corner, though, Xploidz will isolate Addvers, and I feel like that's murder's row for Rebel. Any player that has been over in that corner for Rebel has died.
Yeah, I get why they're kind of having so.
Jesus.
Xploidz, let's say I get why, but it doesn't even matter why because Xploidz taking out one. He's going for that sniper. He knows it's down low. If he doesn't hit headshots, it's over for Crack. That's just plain and simple.
Couple seconds. Got to get that angle on Fearzly. Torque bows. I love the use of the torque bow there. Picture perfect. Yeah, Crack's not going anywhere. Use that torque bow offensively, or defensively, I should say, right? Instead of offensively. Yeah. Throw it out there, get the splash damage, knowing dang well that that player has to push you. That's a 3-1 lead for Fire and Ice. And again, just to recap, they've won all 3 rounds in the way where F&I gets first blood, or excuse me, Rebel gets first blood, but they're not capitalizing off of that. They're not converting it to a round win. And on top of that, Rebel or Fire and Ice has also won their rounds with the way of a torque bow and a long shot.
Doing a good job of kind of working their way out of being stuck towards that torque bow side of the map, little by little, inch by inch. But Dyslexic, we talk about the possibility of this aggression. We saw it going against Dream Conspiracy. It was also something that it might have cost him in the end, but Addvers trying to hold on to his right-hand advantage. He gets first blood and taken out of the game by Dyslexic. Now they have frag grenades. Nobody pushed up just yet. Late frag grenades coming over. Kardia gets taken out. Identivez falls. His teammate tries to run and get an elimination, but Crack, it's just too little, too late. Dyslexic with those frag grenades let his team up go 4-1.
4-1 indeed. Things start to get very scary now for Rebel, who, you know, suffered a loss 300-193 on Regency and now could suffer a pretty heavy loss on Clocktower, one that I thought would benefit them, but clearly hasn't as of yet. Fire and Ice, too much momentum in their favor. Rebel, they've got to fight back, not allow Fire and Ice to get on map point. Obviously, they're not going to slow down, but we'll see how it works out. This time around, instead of Addvers going for the nades, Dyslexic is going to be showing a bit of a different look. And again, this is where Rebel has to take control, but this time Dyslexic's going to yeet some nades up top. Ooh, doesn't connect, though.
Like the idea, though. Tries to get it deep towards the secondary, but just a little bit too deep. Too much juice onto the arm there for Dyslexic, but he's not backing down. He's toying with the idea. Now it's going to look like he's going to try to pepper this elimination. Damage mitigation coming through, but Fearzly there to clean up not only 1, but 2 eliminations. Xploidz got an angle, so does Toti. Everybody's down. Everybody's out. Fire and Ice move to map point.
Map point to lead 2-0 in the series. The possibility is 100% there. We could have a very quick 3-0. And you got to really respect Fire and Ice's ability to just take control of the map. But I want to give Rebel some credit too. I do, because Identivez, 3 first bloods is incredible. That matches that of F&I. And he's got 5 kills and 5 assists, But if you look at Fire and Ice, obviously they're going to have Toti, who's been popping off, our player to watch. And I said it too, you said it, and we know this is a fact. And Toti is popping off. Fire and Ice is going to be unstoppable. And, well, who's popping off? Well, it's going to be Toti. Identivez, you got to respect it. Goes for the quick pick, but does get out of there with only 1 down. Dyslexic going for the flank.
Yeah, I love that attempt. Oh, no, what a blunder on the side of Addvers.
Oh,
a save!
It was a bait! It was a bait!
Identivez stopping this. Oh my God! He does it again! He takes out Fearzly! Another body shot in the books! Identivez has just completed the World Star of World Stars!
Identivez about to make me act up, ladies and gentlemen. Those shots were crispy clean. I don't even need a shower at this point. Let's watch it again, baby.
Now, that wasn't a fake, though. He's still sitting there in the mini-map. He's still chilling. Chilling like a villain. Oh, my God, Reflections. I can't believe what I witnessed.
Hey, like I said, there are some big positives to take away from Rebel, and Identivez is one of them. And yes, we do, in fact, lose Addvers in that moment. He was standing still for a reason, but Identivez sees that, and, I mean, talk about making a bad situation a great one. I mean, seriously, that was just... And this is the thing.
God.
Dyslexic was like, yo, this guy's not moving. I'm going to lancer him to death. And he just sits there, and he kind of just gets like a deer in the headlights. He's like, huh, a free kill? We're on map point? We could lead 2-0 in a series, and this is a free kill that we're literally being blessed by the Gears gods. Yep. And then Identivez says, no, it's not going to happen too easy.
Yeah, because of the situation, 5 rounds, map point, Addvers going... If he doesn't hit that headshot on that guy, it's over. The round is over. Addvers isn't playing. Identivez would have gotten taken out. That would have been a 4v2 situation. Maybe 3v2 because he did get the first one onto Dyslexic. but it is definitely a game over situation if he doesn't take that headshot. The world on his shoulders, he once again rises to the occasion.
Yeah, the veteran's gonna rise. The veteran is going. Speaking of which, who is now the not the oldest pro, but I guess the longest running pro in Gears at this point? Obviously other than
are we counting
Xploidz,
challengers?
Right?
That's that. If we're talking about Pro League, maybe.
Let's talk about just Pro League. Just Pro League. Let's not do check because challenges is all over the place.
I'm just trying to think because a lot of these guys have been playing for a long time.
Actually, what about Lava?
That's what I'm saying. Lava probably going praised actually, but praised. I don't think he really started like competing heavily like that, but he did play NJ Halos for Gears of War 1. Kenny, like I said, I'm trying to see who's here. I don't know a lot of the Latin American roots, so that's where it's kind of unfair to kind of see how long some of these players have been playing for as well.
Well, what about Identivez though? How long has he been competing?
That's what I'm thinking. I think for quite a while. Identivez might have been a part of that Resurrection K roster during Ultimate Edition that almost made the Pro League back then.
Sorry.
A lot of these guys have definitely been around for a while and might need more than just today to really think about that one because it's really something to think about to see who's the OG of OGs now.
It is.
Who's the pod boss?
Who's the pod boss? Okay. Jacob, you've got a past that I don't know about. It might be a little bit darker than I know. Like I said, you got the orange shirt on for a reason. And now you're talking about pod bosses. And then you were talking about gambling and stuff on your last paycheck. Jacob, you're wild tonight, bro. I don't even know who you are.
I think, I just taking a turn. I wouldn't say for the worst, but I think we got Jacob 2.0 in the house. You guys are going to see some real life personality being led to shine. But honestly, though, I got to see on my second monitor the replay of that. Oh, that headshot. Honestly, I won't be able to sleep tonight because of it. It is just one of those moments here. I will say, though, the lucky thing for Fire and Ice is the lag out happened, even though I'm saying the lucky thing, because now they can recover from such a play. Now they can recover and shut it down and refocus themselves, recenter everything. And then all the momentum that was built on the side of Rebel, I'm not going to say it's out the window, but it's definitely been watered down just a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, watered down just a little bit, not much. All right, it's like a couple drops of water in your Coke or your Sprite. At this point, it's still drinkable, right? And now, when you open up the tap, though, it might start getting a little bit weird, right? And then Identivez could very well do that. I think he's sitting at 8 kills at the moment, 8 eliminations, which, hey, he's carrying his team. He really is. In first bloods, in overall ability to clutch up rounds, to slay out. He's doing it all, and you expect the King to be able to do that. Armored JP is saying Kinney. Kinney is the longest standing pro currently in the scene. A lot of people are saying Kinney. Yeah. So someone said Kinney's
I like the names.
35.
Solars,
I don't think that's true, but
Addvers. I'm just trying to think. Icy has definitely been around a while.
Praised Icy.
A lot of names. A lot of names. I'm just top of my head, I just think Praise simply because the NJ Halos. Praise has been competing against, CDN the third. A lot of these old professional
a lot of
players,
legends come from Gears.
Talent back in the day. Exactly. That East Coast for the early portion of the Gears of War lifetime was definitely the place to be when it comes to competition.
Only I can go back in time. Right. Only I can go back in time. Well, I think a lot of people would say that right about multiple things. Identivez, again, he's going to be the guy, quite honestly, to Rebel this victory. The Dyslexic has oh my lord, Addvers just spots him out. You know what Rebel is saying? Dyslexic, these flanks are getting old, brother. We're seeing right through them.
And they close it out on the other side of things here, though. The other team, Fire and Ice, has to know that if he's going for that flank, he calls it out. It's just backward steps to try to stay alive. And that's the thing that they didn't do right in Rebel to complete advantage. If you don't backtrack, you're taking so much damage, you're getting forced into a position that makes you uncomfortable, you're going to get turned into a pretzel.
All right, Ink in chat saying Identivez staying with Rebel. Just signed a new deal. Sweet. So we know where he's going, or at least where he's not going, I suppose, and that's anywhere else. Well done, Ink. Hey, look, Identivez is that guy. Identivez is that guy. Addvers pick gets the nades. Now, again, last time he did this, or at least who is this? Toti, where'd you come from? My Addvers was not expecting Toti to be all up in his face like that.
Honestly, looks like the Swarm version of Dizzy here, but Kardia getting first blood. It's going to go ahead and allow the cushion to be felt. Kardia gets the second one onto Toti. Dyslexic is doing what he can, and honestly, it's just unfortunate. It's just too late. Too late here. 4 rounds for Rebel. They're climbing back into map number 2. And honestly, like I said, a play like that does not go unnoticed. That momentum is definitely going to be something here that shifted 3 straight rounds for Rebel.
Oh, here we go again. Here we go again. Now, Fire and Ice's aggression is a feat to behold. It really is. But sometimes the team just learns how to battle against it. Go back to your ABCs, F and I. This is the time to do so. Dyslexic, stop going for those big flanks. Play as a team. Play what won you Regency, and that is overall team fire. And you got to shut down Identivez. 4 first bloods as a whole in the 9 rounds we have seen so far. And Identivez, oh, he's got the snipe. And he gets out for free, Jacob.
That was absolutely perfect. The way he kind of inched his way over. Not even getting shot from the host spot, but that mark going down low on Dyslexic is going to be huge. As you see Fire and Ice, they're trying to gain that positioning down low. You might have gave up the sniper, but there's still a frag grenades down the hand of Dyslexic, and the torque boat up for grabs out wide. But with the quick rotation coming through, Addvers able to find one onto Xploidz. A kill on himself and an elimination onto Crack is going to keep the upper hand in favor of Rebel. 3v2 advantage there. Nice damage onto Toti. It's just about buying time. They got a 1v1 here. Toti's going to try to chase down Identivez on the other side of things, though. Rebel has a 2v1 they need to take advantage of.
2v1, like you said, take advantage of it. Take any advantage you can possibly get going to around 11. I don't know. Oh, my lord, that body shot. Identivez cannot be stopped at the moment. Fearzly. Big kill. Oh, he lives. Not for long, though. Identivez is just... I cannot believe... Identivez is the guy that has taken this to just a bad loss, a bad L, to an impressive comeback and almost an impressive victory. They're so close.
So close. Round number 11 is now underway here in just a short moment. The comeback, 4 straight rounds from Rebel. Before that, 4 straight rounds from Fire and Ice. They get up into this situation here. Everything coming down to this. 4 players up top from both of these teams. So Identivez playing that secondary last round. So a switch up coming through. Xploidz trying to get that sniper. He goes down early, but a revive. But first blood going over to Fire and Ice. Crack goes down. Power weapons in the hands of Fire and Ice.
Oh!
Well, Xploidz gets the elimination onto Identivez. Anything you can do, I can do better, as that's going to be a headshot.
Xploidz is the guy to have the sniper. We know this. Addvers is down, ladies and gentlemen. Rebel's comeback is going to end here. Body shot the Kardia. The finish is over. Dyslexic picks him up. Are they beating him down? You can't do that after Identivez basically single-handedly beats you guys on Clocktower execution. This right here is unwarranted. I don't like to see it, but we see it anyways. Fire and Ice wins round 11 after a very scary series of round losses between 7 and 10, and they will in fact lead 2-0 in the series. And it looks like Rebel again on the back foot, on the back pedal. Vasgar Escalation is coming up next. We know this to be a great map for Rebel at times, but an even better map for Fire and Ice consistently. This could end in 3-0. Let us know what you think in chat. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, map 3 coming your way. Welcome back, everybody, to the Gears Pro League Split 3 Phase 2 Day 13. After an exciting comeback from Rebel, Fire and Ice closes the door in their face, winning round 11 on Clocktower execution. That means they now lead 2-0 in the series. We're heading to Vasgar Escalation. But without a doubt, and again, to give him credit, man, Identivez popping off and playing so well.
Yeah, you got to give them all the credit in the world that they deserve. After that first map, I was kind of losing any hope I had into Rebel, but I always talk about possibility, probability, potential for a team to strike. And you saw for a moment there, 4 straight rounds, the true potential that Rebel and this play right there. Damn near lost my mind, damn near had a heart attack. I'm about to throw my entire setup out the window. I just can't believe plays like that exist.
Yeah, just really honestly disgusting. Like, that shot was just crazy, to say the least. Did we already see it? Did I miss it?
No, yeah, we already did. No, we already
Dang,
did.
I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch it again. We'll have to go back and rewatch. You know what? Sometimes I'm not looking at the screen in front of me. I'm just talking. You know, I'm just talking away, looking at other things. But seriously, though, well done from Rebel. Even though they take the loss, they showed great promise on Clocktower execution. And, you know, again, a map that Fire and Ice has historically struggled on. Come major time, if I'm any team, I'm picking Clocktower Execution because Dream Conspiracy beat him there. Rebel takes him 6-5, nearly beats him after a massive comeback. Fire and Ice has showed great weakness on Clocktower, but at least in this series, they did get the victory. We move into Vasgar Escalation. And as I said, Rebel has got some good victories on Vasgar. They have, but Fire and Ice has got even more. Even though they struggled at the beginning, I feel Fire and Ice is starting to tighten up as we get closer to major time. And that team fire was impressive on Regency, and that team fire is going to be impressive on Vasgar too.
No, I agree with you on that aspect because you got to give it up. Like we said, we're giving credit to Rebel for being able to climb back, force a game or round number 11 there in that series. But the biggest difference coming in is if you take note of how the teamwork kind of implemented itself in map number 1, the objective-based game mode, it was as if they were playing as individuals. You bring that same individuality into execution, it could work. You see Identivez going in, getting multi-kills, getting that first blood, which alleviates the pressure from the rest of the team. Now coming back in, even though it is another round-based game mode, it's definitely very, very team-oriented in Escalation. I'm just hoping those shines of individuality is enough to at least keep them within contention in this map. So that way, you know, you force Fire and Ice to make mistakes. You can steal together some rounds. Otherwise, it's going to be all over. This is where the series could end if Fire and Ice comes out on top and you don't fight back.
Well, the good thing about individuality on Vasgar is you typically will see a 3v3 fight on tank. You'll see the 1v1 up top, or at times you'll see a distinct 2v2, which either way, losing any of those fights, the 1v1 or the 2v2, puts you at a big disadvantage. You know, the 2-to-1 disadvantage. And someone like Identivez can provide great value in those fights specifically.
No, it definitely can. So that's why they can also change things up if they put certain weapons on the map. I'm not saying go ahead and throw an M-bar, throw a sniper, but if you have 2 different utility grenades to fight over, maybe something small like, yes, an actual sniper on one side of the map, frag grenades on the other, that's how you can keep a team fight on the other and keep it away from going 2 different 2-2 fights. But maybe then at the same time, you do a 2-2 fight and you have Crack and Identivez on one side of things. I think that's going to be a force to be reckoned with as long as they can keep things going, cannot slowing down. And I think that's going to be the key. As soon as Rebel finds a way to catch fire in this map, they cannot slow down.
All right, here we go. Let's see if Rebel's going to be able to answer back. And answer back, they definitely need to. It's very telling on Escalation. Well, we've already seen Vasgar once, right? Vanquish beat United 5-2 on this map earlier. We did see training grounds between Oxygen and Noble. That was Oxygen's first win. That kind of turned the tides for them to send it to a map 5. In this case, could it be Rebel's opportunity to do much the same? We talked about the 1v spots. This time around, it's going to be player 2 of Dyslexic and Crack on the opposite end. Meanwhile, tank fight. Xploidz feels confident, pushes forward, gets chunked.
A little bit too late to that exchange. Try and save Toti, but lucky for them, Dyslexic on the other side of the map wins his 1v1. Talk about that individuality, already showcasing just that, and that keeps them with 2 hills under their control, and it honestly gives away the next play. These players fresh off of respawn, they have to fight for their home hill back, especially knowing you just got it down onto Identivez on the other side of the map. If you don't fight for it right now, this will be a triple cap domination. Kardia goes down early, Crack falls as well, and that's going to be Addvers and Kardia, the last ones alive. And I said Kardia early on, but it was Crack that went down very, very early on. The full team wipe coming through, and Fire and Ice with the collective effort take round number 1.
Which is, I must say, crazy for me because, again, Rebel did such a great job on that tank fight. You know, Xploidz, last one standing, he heads down, he gets chunked. Yet Fire and Ice wins the round in a very convincing fashion once F&I comes off the respawn. And that's telling. It truthfully is. I expect Rebel to place a power weapon down sooner rather than later if we continue to go at this pace. For Fire and Ice, they're okay with it, though. They'll continue to build up their bolt talks to the shocks, then to the ensigns. And Identivez & Co. has the ability to do that, too. But again, if F&I continues to play the way they just did in round 1, things could get a bit scary for Rebel, and they're going to have to change up the map pacing pretty drastically. So let's head into round number 2. And Rebel's sending 4 over towards A and then to C. Okay.
Right now, it just looks like they're having Addvers kind of anchor out their backside, spotting rotating members going around, and no is right indeed. These players just getting funneled, hopping over the cover, and that looked like almost a defeat for Rebel. But luckily for them, they were able to kind of get the necessary eliminations while hopping over the cover. And go ahead and switch back on over to Addvers. That player that I said was being an anchor on the other side of the map doesn't back down when necessary. They get 2 quick, easy kills and go ahead and turning the home hill of Rebel into their own.
Dyslexic was giving Rebel the business on that cover. If he doesn't make that mismantle, I really do think he wins that 1v2, 1v3. I don't even know, because he was hitting every single shot. Fire and Ice did take the 2-1, but now Rebel has struck back and in with a vengeance. And they will, in fact, keep the 2-1 as Fire and Ice is going to be off the respawn, forced to stay on their own home hill and take that for themselves. Rebel will spread themselves out, and I believe rotate down to B to help that of Identivez, who's going to be opposite of Dyslexic. So B is where the next team fight is going to be.
Doing a good job holding the ground, backing up Identivez, but Identivez at the same time knowing this isn't the opportunity, this isn't the time to hold my ground. My teammates aren't necessarily there in time for this Fire and Ice onslaught. Everybody retreating, but Identivez gets caught out. He's going to get eliminated. Hopefully the rest of the squad can continue to push forward, holding 2 hills under their hand. Only 10 seconds really separate these two teams, and Rebel has done it. They've neutralized the home hill of Fire and Ice. Now that's putting the ball into the Fire and Ice home hill, into their court, I should say, is now they have to make a move, and they have to make a perfect move here, because one mistake could cost you the round.
Without question, I always say at the top pro level, one mistake can really put you in the grave, quite honestly. And teams like this, Rebel, Fire and Ice, any team in the Pro League are going to, and even the top echelon challenger teams are going to capitalize off of those mistakes. So you can't make many of them. Toti challenging, gets one trade, still alive, tries to go in for crack, not going to happen. FNI still has the lead currently, and off the respawn, they're going to have to fight really hard because you got player 5 Identivez who's going to be on B, so that's going to be broken. Rebel, now the only team with hills in their name, the win condition can 100% shift their way, and it's going to.
Good execution on Fire and Ice, quickly off the respawn, utilizing a 3v2 mismatch, but over the top, Kardia is able to get it down onto one. You don't tap up in Escalation. Must-win fight for Fearzly, and he takes it. One after the next, the teammates from Rebel are there to stop him from going in, breaking that hill, and even getting the revive, making sure they have as many players intact as possible. The last one alive on the side of Fire and Ice is going to be Toti. He breaks through, he gets that neutral hill, and trying to keep this one rather close to still anyone's game.
Anybody's game indeed. Fire and Ice. The fact that they take the 2-1 back in the win condition after Rebel stole it from them is truly impressive. It just comes to show you that slaying power they can turn on a dime. But this hill break and cap could be everything Rebel needed. Is it going to be enough, though? Oh, it's not. Cog Team still will win. B needs to get broken, and it's going to. And this has been a roller coaster ride of a round, but I think with that decap and cap in general, it's going to be Rebel who gets a narrow win, 250 to 246, 248. And that is an important win for Rebel, but you see how hard they had to work to get that win? Still very telling, because Fire and Ice was going toe-to-toe with them till the end.
Yeah, as long as they stay confident and focused on the win conditions in these rounds, doesn't matter if it's by an inch or a mile, Rebel would definitely take it. And this is obviously a must-win map for many reasons. The most obvious one is the 2-0 map lead that Fire and Ice have over them. So they win this one, it is over. And already your hopes of taking first place are out of the window if you're Rebel, but this is those last moments, the tournament style practice before that major. So it's put up or shut up.
Put up or shut up time, man. It really is. Retros now can be outfitted on both ends, especially for Rebel. They're not trailing behind 2-0. So again, one of the biggest talking points I had at the start was, when is Rebel going to place a power weapon down? Well, they don't have to now because they tied it up 1-1. We are going back to the favorable side, a rival spawn where FNI was successful before, much like Rebel was just a round ago. And if I remember correctly, it was Dyslexic who won the 1v against Crack. The tank fight was won by Rebel, but FNI after respawn quickly wiped out Rebel in a team fight. What was that? What was that?
Bro, he faked him out so hard. He broke his ankles 3 times over, made him fall face first into the ground on the side of Dyslexic. And those are like Dyslexic style things. Those are some tendencies to really take note of in the fights. The way he implements them into the gameplay. Mr. Krabs' opportunity. Fearzly shoving everybody back with that retro lancer. Pops out for a moment to not take a full spread shot, but he thought he was in the clear. Kardia takes him out, and this round will continue.
Round's going to continue indeed. Rebel trailing behind about 50 or so points, but will Rebel have enough gas left in the tank to come back? Well, Dyslexic looks like he's going to pull off a bit of a sneak move, but Addvers taking the outside. Toti now with his opportunity. Nice shot on the one. Dyslexic's going to be in the front. This is a big opportunity for FNI, and they will win at least one of their fights, but not the other. Addvers will win and clutch up in that moment. Still a lot of firepower being laid down. Fearzly needs to stay alive in this moment. Get out if he can. And encouraging as Rebel will take the 2-1 back in their favor and slow FNI down a little bit.
Slowing them down, but you know, FNI is not one of those teams that let too much time go out the window before it starts to make a move and a flash to kind of counteract. Identivez pushing him back, gets the down, quickly revive back up. So Xploidz gets flanked by Kardia, so Sandwich is going to go ahead and ensue, especially since Dyslexic does get taken down. So multiple Fire and Ice members are going to be put on spawn here. So you see 3 members in your mini map. Make it 4 as they're beginning to funnel these players around. But the one to watch out for is Crack, because once these players come off respawn, one player will try to go ahead and extend on that side of things.
All right. Rebel does have the win condition. Still, Fire and Ice with the point lead, and that was garnered off this very start. FNI with their aggression, though, is quickly going to pound. Oh, my lord. Crack will read Dyslexic like a book, and Xploidz. Plays like that need to happen. Again, I highlight Identivez quite a bit, but also Crack, who has stepped it up so much since Demon's departure. And plays like that will set you over the top. And in this case, right, Rebel's going for the domination, and they are going to get it. Fire and Ice took for granted that a strong start they had. They assumed they were getting the domination, but blindsided by a Rebel member that flips the script. And that is 2 rounds in a row for Rebel, which is incredibly important on Vasgar. The first team to win 2 in a row usually is the team that wins the entire map.
Yeah, and you hear it all the time in football. You don't give up on the play until you hear the whistle. And Fearzly, he really gave up on the play there. He got that elimination on towards Identivez, and he just gets taken out by Kardia there at the very last portions when he was about to cap that hill.
Uh-oh. I thought it was going to be Rebel, but seems as if it's going to be Toti. Placing a long shot here against Rebel is pretty risky. Rebel's known for their quick picks on the snipe on tank. They are, and especially from a rival, well, only from a rival spawn. And now you're placing a long shot down, which is great. It forces the fight, which in a way does benefit FNI, right? They want that headbutt fight. I benefit FNI in that fight. But again, Rebel is known for their signature quick pick, and we're about to see it right now.
Reflections kind of letting us know beforehand what to expect out of Rebel. Signature off of that side, but when you have that good side, you can do things like that. Addvers with a flank, being up over the top with another sniper. Body shot. Xploidz gonna be the last member alive, and he's gonna be left there. Got to think about his decisions. 2 hills in favor. I was thinking 2 hills in favor of Rebel, but Dyslexic, because of that 1v1, is gonna go ahead and make all those early eliminations basically worth nothing.
Yeah, definitely so. That's pretty hard to take to, a hard pill to swallow. Such a good start, and then, well, for what? It really doesn't matter at this point in time. Rebel looking so good. Is this the map they finally win and, you know, start their comeback in a series from? It absolutely is seeing as if it might be. Identivez with that snipe. We've seen him on Clocktower, and he's connected on a couple of shots already. Storm is going to be dominating, but Fire and Ice does in fact get on to B for the time being. But a lot of work still to be done. It's early in the round, but Rebel, I mean, they're not letting go off the gas, brother. And I must say, they are looking more impressive than FNI as of recently. Great shot.
This man right now from Clocktower to here, just accurate as can be. And honestly, I'm glad to see it, because usually with the drop shot, whether if it's the boom shot, he's get that weapon out of his hands, because of how quick and how decisive he is to shoot him. He doesn't try to fake players out. He just shoots them, and sometimes he just gets splash damage. Sometimes he just gets nothing. But with the sniper, how quick and decisive he is a godsend. He's quickly able to dissect these players, hit the body shot, hit the needed headshot, and he can already see his teams entrusting him, rotating over, getting that position towards the backside of the tank, which is usually step number 1 when overtaking this hill.
This is going to be a big loss for Rebel. They had the quick pick. They had a wonderful start. Fire and Ice now takes the 2-1. Player 2 sneaking over towards A. He can either stay on A, which that's exactly what he's going to do. Player 1 is going to be on the backside of these 2 players from Rebel. This is not something Rebel was expecting, but it's about to happen. They don't really have a choice or a matter in the say. Player 5 will sneak over to B. That's going to keep Rebel in it. But at this point, the win condition is going to be back in the hands of FNI. Right, I say back, but for the first time at least, right? Jacob and Sniper will be picked up from Identivez, but I don't think Rebel was expecting to lose control of this round at all. I wasn't expecting it personally.
Yeah, especially not in the way that they did. But body shot again, landing onto Xploidz. A couple of shots from his teammates going to make that one possible to get the elimination. But Identivez getting bull talk from the top. High ground's going to excel as Dyslexic did enough damage Fearzly's gonna clean that one up, but Crack not going down without a fight. Up Aing around the corner, trying to bait out an attempt, but he had to reload. Jumps out wide, gets taken down, but his teammate is there to save the day. That's gonna be Kardia, and it forces Dyslexic to make an audible. The turn to try to find a different route, but that's just gonna be enough here. If he's able to prolong this fight, he will have some reinforcements in the form of Toti, but he doesn't need them.
Don't need him at this point anyways. That's 2 down. But will that also be 2 down for Rebel? Yes, it will be. It's anybody's ball game. Fire Knight still with the lead currently. Big fights underway that are going to make a huge impact, and that was one of them. Taking down Fearzly in the middle section is going to allow for them to send their numbers, speaking in regards to Rebel, over towards C. A is going to be broken, but that 5v1 from Fire Knights will solidify this round, and F&I will tie it up 2-2 going into the second half.
Yep. Hardest thing you can really do here is when it's this evenly matched, it really makes you kind of second guess. You gonna go ahead and play the game hoping your opponent makes a mistake, or are you gonna come out with initials, send 3-4 players over, and really try to create those opportunities for yourself? And I think this next weapon placement is going to be telling. We already have the sniper on the field, and I said with the individuality coming through, Identivez is able to kind of use that power weapon on one side of the map, putting a frag grenades up to the top, allowing Crack to get loose. Wouldn't be a bad idea if you're Rebel.
Yeah, I don't think it would be at all. I really don't. Again, spread out that map, which should benefit them in this moment, but I think they want maybe a shock. It's surprising they get rid of the retro. I totally thought they would prioritize that firepower, but you know, a shock's not a bad play either. Very smart, especially when you think about what Rebel likes to do, right? Going for that signature quick pick on the snipe, having that shock. If you can place it well in the middle, you could very well get 2 downs, and that's exactly what they might try to do. But no, they do hold on to it, so that's good. I think a great call out, good communication in general. And that's a great throw of the shock. Isolate Toti, allow Kardia to take him down. Well done. This is a good initial for Rebel.
Yep, for Dyslexic. He's going for that flank. He's going to get the decap on towards this hill. It almost looks like a Mr. Crab opportunity for a moment, but F is going to be broken by Rebel. 2 hills still trying to go in way of Fire and Ice. Fearzly goes down, which means Dyslexic only goal here, buy as much time as possible. Possibly get an elimination if it grants itself, but with that elimination, this one is going to keep going. There's going to be no triple cap domination just yet. And if I'm Rebel, I go ahead and allow Identivez to figure out what moves you want to make, especially with the sniper in hand.
Fire and Ice has spread themselves a bit thin at the moment. Granted, so is Rebel. It's a 2v2. Identivez gets away barely. Now he can double back and challenge with the sniper if he can. I will say Fire and Ice, this round at least, have been different when it comes to that middle presence, Jacob. They've been rocking mid lane quite a bit and just kind of going back and forth between E and over here to D. It's going to be a fight one from Fire and Ice. By himself, though, is Fearzly. He's going to drop off the map, and Rebel clearly is going to take the top hill, but for what? Now you got player 2 who's going to be on F, and that's on F and I spawn. So the real question is, does Toti and Dyslexic stay, or should be Toti and Xploidz? Do they stay on D? I think they do, and they're going to continually fight the respawns of Rebel.
Saw a shot go over the top. They're trying to take him out, make it a little bit easier onto the home hill. Kardia, there goes 2 with the help of Addvers, as they're trying to keep themselves within arm's length of this one. They're almost doubled up onto the score line, but with that second hill, they're going to immediately start to chip away and whittle it down. Dyslexic going down to make it a little bit easier, but Identivez gets a little bit greedy going for the hill. He was by himself on the other side of the map. 3 players immediately swarm to try to take him out. No points being gained for Fire and Ice, though that's going to be the silver lining. They create a little bit of distance between themselves and their opponent. Ooh. There goes 1. It's only traded off there. Toti goes down. Fearzly's going to fall as well. The third one is Xploidz. He goes down, and 2 hills will remain in Rebel control, and that is going to be a wipe. Possible triple cap domination here. It's going to be up to Toti here to figure out a way to prolong this game.
I think Toti will be able to. At least he's going to get a touch. That was an important shot for Crack to hit. He doesn't. Still more. Oh, he misses the second too. Fire and Ice will get the break. Hits the third. Okay. And turns around and hits the body as well. And another 3 down, leaving Dyslexic by himself. And those sniper shots, even though he whiffed a lot at the beginning, Jacob, hitting those other ones allowed Rebel to get 3 members down. And Fire and Ice absolutely on the back foot. Dyslexic can't even stick it onto E. He's going to try and rotate around and pincer in the remaining players from Rebel. Fire and Ice can still win this round. That's a lot of time to play with.
Not the time to let up off the gas if you're Rebel. Especially after all you've been through. Especially after that map number 2 heartbreaking loss. Two Hills immediately in control of Fire and Ice. There's enough time left onto this clock for Fire and Ice to complete the comeback. You already see the win condition at the top of your screen. Less than 30 seconds in Dyslexic. Sneaky. Playing bracket busters, making them feel safe as possible. The chase Xploidz down, flank coming through. Now he makes himself known. They're trying to put a stop to it. Only one hill being scored points for Fire and Ice, so Rebel can still get back into this one. They just need to capture this hill. Everybody being taken out. Two hills to one. That opportunity is now out the window. Rebel, the opportunity, the chance to complete this round. It's just gone. Fire and Ice have done enough. They completed the comeback.
But I mean, oh, yeah, they have. Jacob, I just saw Rebel, though. They got 3 members down for Fire and Ice, and I'm like, hold up a second. This might be doable for Rebel, but you called it perfectly, Jacob. I was the one who ruined the moment. 3-2 lead for Fire and Ice, but that round, again, kept very close from Rebel, but, you know, that's deflating in a way because you just witnessed Rebel play that round so masterfully, so well. Beautiful shots hit from Kardia, beautiful shots hit from Identivez, but for what? For the loss in the first round of the second half. And speaking of Kardia, 20 kills to his name. He's got 17k damage. A lot of work being placed, or a lot of work being done from Rebel, but it's not enough if you don't get the W. This is a big turning point for Fire and Ice. They win one more. They're on map point, series point.
Yep. Control over their own destiny right now. Fire and Ice, another one of those teams that I talked about that's in the hunt, in the race, still take first place, and that one too could come down to, if they complete the victory here, that one too could come down to a matchup against Rise, which will take place tomorrow. I do believe it could be our last match of the day. So for Fire and Ice, your hopes and dreams taking first place is still a reality. You can't let it slip through against Rebel.
Ooh, great shot from Identivez through the smoke. Yeah, that was fantastic. Good read of the situation. But funny enough, Toti just in front of him, dancing around for quite some time, barely spots him. Oh my, Identivez, pop off, King. I see you. My lord, that's 3. Can you get 4?
Can't get 4.
I don't know.
Can you?
Cells did it. Cells did it in his matchup. I think he can. That movement, crispy, but nah, he can't get 4. Oh, maybe he can get 4. He's back in the fight. Okay. Okay, he's going for 6, 5. Math is hard. He got 5, or he got 4. That's okay. He got 4. Still, though, I mean, that start sets Rebel up nicely.
Definitely does here. Dyslexic Toti picking up 2 more downs. Just take note of the only reason why he even picked up the Micho there is just how close proximity the next enemy was. They're just going to try to stagger out these deaths. Identivez going in, able to get 1, sacrificing his life. Kardia, yeah, it was Kardia. Sacrificing it, rightfully so, though. That's going to be crucial. Success here in the situation, but Fire and Ice do it with 2 hills. Trailing 30 points, though, but with the sniper in the hands as well. Spotting players across the map, getting a good body shot. I think it's going to be a big hill for Rebel to overcome, but you have to wait for the rest of the troops to get in position.
Smokes out. No marks, though, on Rebel at this point. Dyslexic might hit a couple if he can. Utility thrown out. Rebel can't get down those stairs. Addvers forced to go for the pickup. Xploidz just kind of meandering on the other side of the map. Fair enough. I guess he has nobody to shoot at just yet, but he'll try to find that off angle. Pop somebody's head off if he can. Not to mention Xploidz gets to bolt talk too. He's literally John Wick.
Ooh, I'm just trying to watch Fearzly in action right now. Big shots over the cover. Toti as well. Everybody doing their part here on Fire and Ice. Talk about win this one, you're now on series point. That pressure could definitely be felt by Rebel. Kardia just toying with it, could be his death as Xploidz just looking for the shot over the top of the cover. 4 players rotating over for Rebel. They're going to try to brute force their way 1 hill after the next, but that's a play Xploidz saw coming. Now he's trying to be disruption towards the backside. So not only do you need to get eliminations, you need to backtrack. You need a full team wipe if you're going to take this round for Rebel. And with those eliminations going in the way of Fire and Ice, they are on series point. One step away from closing this one out.
Like you said, series point, 1 step away, 1 round away. And Fire and Ice will successfully beat the other Latin American team, the rival of Rebel. And I think it's fair enough to say, to solidify, Fire and Ice as the best Latin American team in the league currently, Jacob.
I mean, I agree with that. I will 100% agree with that. With the way
Say, who else are you
Pittsburgh
gonna
Knights
throw
has
out
been
there? I was really ready
inconsistent.
for the controversial response.
I had to think. I'm just thinking, who else would constitute? Got Fire Knights, Team Queso, Pittsburgh Knights that haven't been well rep. Yeah, you're 100% right, man. That's why you were. Well, you got that trophy over there. That's why I'm letting you keep it. That'll be
Jacob, if you bring up this trophy one more time and don't send me your address.
I'm on to bigger and better things, okay?
What, like a championship plastic belt? Or should be,
Hey,
I guess, 24 karat gold belt? My apologies.
It's 24 karat gold.
With the
weighs about
diamond
50
encrusted.
pounds. Hey, it's 24 karat gold, just like your 6'4".
6'8", but you were close.
Not bad.
You gotta add those 4 extra inches, bro. I guess it doesn't matter when you're 6'4", 6'8". You tower over
Hey,
anybody
when you call,
anyways.
exactly.
You know, I can reach the top shelf at the convenience store. Who cares? Okay, it is what it is. It's no big deal. All right, no big deal. Shaq, nothing on me, baby. Actually, I don't know if that's true. Hey, Fearzly, Fire Knights is looking to make this a quick round, but no one's gonna get over towards E. Player 2 is gonna sprint over there, but the biggest thing, though, Jacob, is the fact that this is one of the most dominant starts we've seen from F&I. And that's scary and concerning to say because Rebels already put F&I on map point. So, you know, to give them their best start, their best initial off the round that they need to take the victory, it's a bit concerning.
Concerning. It's going to continuously be concerning on the side of Rebel. Like I said, these moments are very good moments for Rebel. You see they're mechanically skilled, but I've always said it time and time again. You can have 5 of the most mechanically skilled players on the planet, in this case 4 now, and things cannot work out for you because if you're not vibing, the chemistry isn't there, you're not able to kind of play out one another, or if you take out your teammate 10, things just won't go your way.
Clearly not Xploidz. Calm down with the trigger finger. Okay, well, fair enough. I guess don't calm down. You got to take your positives with the negatives, negatives with the positives. You can't appreciate a positive if you don't have a negative. That's just reality of life. But Rebel does have the 2-1. You better believe Fire Knights is looking to swarm in onto F, and that's exactly what they're going to do. And smokes are out. No marks are on Xploidz, so he has free reign to snipe as he pleases.
That's one thing you don't want to do. You want to fear snipers into the game all the time in the world. Patience, the comfortability to put that thing to use, but luckily for them, Addvers is kind of making them feel uncomfortable, forcing them to roll out in towards the middle, but that's almost a blessing in disguise as well. Dyslexic is already making a rotation to the top half of the map, followed up by a fresh rotation coming in from Toti. They give up their home hill because they're taking over Rebels. Like I said, they're already on series point here, 2 hills under their control, 10+ point lead. That is just building even more. Toti,
wow!
Back to back, turning, burning, taking out 2, almost gets a 3rd on the Kardia, but he's gonna leave that one for Dyslexic. No, I may have spoke too soon. Identivez would have flagged, but they're still in it right now on the side of Rebel. Only 30 points separate him is much enough for a comeback.
Did you see that process of thinking for Toti? He catches Addvers off the rotation, he hits him first, and then doubles back to get the player who's running full sprint at him. So he goes for the guaranteed kill, Jacob, instead of going for the 50-50 up-close Nasher fight. That was a process of elimination that happened instantaneously, and that is going to result in the round win. 5-2 victory and a 3-0 victory for Fire and Ice. They are your champions in this series. Well done to them.
4 straight rounds to close it out. Honestly puts them right back on top. Like I said, these is the final moments. These are the last chances a lot of these teams have to claim that first seed before that major. And I know we're gonna have some time so we can get the official standings going through, but as we started the day, I think it was places 6th and up. 6th and up still have that opportunity to claim first place. It almost makes me wonder, where are we at now?
I'm not even gonna refresh the page. I'm not going to refresh the page. I want it to be a surprise when we look at the standings. But I want to point out, by the way, Toti, MVP there. Toti popped off. And again, that process of elimination to challenge Addvers in that moment and then double back on the crack was just, it was brilliant. Like, that's just, and I know you saw that. You've been competing a long time. And those plays aren't easy to make. You know, it's so easy just to go for the head down 50-50, but the fact that he did process of elimination literally within milliseconds was just beautiful.
Yeah, and honestly, it just shows that these players, man, they really break the mold time and time again. And as we lose some of the greatest players in Gears history, we also gained some of the new guys that are coming onto the scene to kind of claim that top spot. So as much as Explosive will be missed, thanks to that announcement after the season, he will be no more. I always talk about opportunities from challengers to pro to step up to now claim the throne. Not only be the best team in Gears Esports, obviously some rosters will change, but to be the best IGL, the best leader, that crown, that title is now for the taking.
I think so. I do. I think so. Who is going to be the most dominant team in season 3? You know, E United, struggles or not, they're always a team you have to talk about, isn't that right? I mean, they're a team that you have to respect and you have to always keep in the back of your mind, especially this major. You know, I don't care how many losses E United suffered. I don't care what their MSP performance was. Come major time, E United is going to be a team you have to respect. You can't say the same about a lot of other teams, right, who gets that major energy. But anyways, off of that, back on board with F9 and Rebel. I mean, great job from Fire and Ice. But again, to give credit where credit is due for Rebel, you know, I think, you know, Identivez clearly the MVP for Rebel today. I mean, he stepped it up. If there was any chance for Identivez to catch a break for Rebel, I mean, he was going to take it. I am so impressed with the intensity and the shots he was connecting on, brother. And that's what makes Rebel scary, because you never know, you know, what players are going to be able to pop off. And in that case, you know, Identivez was that guy, but just wasn't enough.
I would say, did Toti get 30K? I missed it when the scoreboard popped up. I really hope he got 30K, but Toti is the man. 100 grand. I said it to start this match off. He claimed the title with an intense comeback over TJ and Demise in the summer 2v2 major that went to a game 5. He comes back into here and he's just progressively getting better. He is just one of the, I think he could be in the top 10 right now for all time. I wouldn't say all time, but Gears 5 players in the game right now. I got to figure out a way to make a top 10 list. It's going to be one of the hardest things I've ever done.
And who's that? Who are you saying could be potentially top 5?
Toti,
100%. Yeah, I mean, Toti's just, you know, that's the thing about Fire and Ice and Vanquish and some others is like I've been seeing the value in certain players that weren't highlighted by myself as much as I should have. You know, I should have highlighted Toti a long time ago because he did have value. You guys were always bringing him to the forefront, talking if Toti pops off, the team's going to pop off. That is very true and very apparent here. It's kind of like with handles on Vanquish. You know, handles provide so much value. We constantly talk about Zysho. We talk about precision of cells, but handles is a guy that I'm a big fan of, you know, when it comes to Vanquish because of his positional plays, his ability to rotate and put Vanquish in a winning spot with his angles and his respawns. You know, he's a great anchor player. He handles his own whenever it comes to execution, and he has pop-off moments in escalation. He's a great all-around player. I'm loving these support role players, and for Toti to slay out as hard as he did, to outshine, you know, the plethora of slayers you have on F9, well done to him. You know, if he does that during a major, whew, it's gonna be beautiful.
Damn, that's gonna be threatening. I don't even want to think of that. I might go to bed with nightmares because there's only one Toti, and there's so many other players that are just gonna have to put in that same amount of work, that same work ethic to go ahead and rise to the top, man. It doesn't go unnoticed. You might go ahead and slack a day of scrims here, slack a day there. Being late to even start are actually pro league matches on the side of Toti, but man, is it worth it at the end of the day if you drop 30K?